Good morning. What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you with another breaking news report here on NorbCam. Big news, I guess, in the cornerback side of things for the Seahawks. They have signed cornerback Pierre Desir to a one-year deal. The details of the contract have not been released yet. But what do we know about Pierre Desir? Should we get excited about this signing? How big is this? What does he add to the Seahawks roster? Well, let's just take a quick look at Pierre Desir. He was a 2014 fourth-round draft pick, originally signed with the Cleveland Browns, played there for a couple of seasons. Then he kind of bounced around a few different teams. Played 1 year in 2016 for San Diego Chargers, then went to the Indianapolis Colts, where he played there for 3 seasons. And then last year, he split time with the New York Jets and then with the Baltimore Ravens. How productive has he been? Well, let's look at his most recent stats. In 2020, last season with the Jets, it's played 9 games, had 3 interceptions, started 8 of those games. So he still seems to have some gas left in the tank, considering in his whole career, he's only had 8 interceptions, but to get 3 of them as of last year, not too bad. He is 30 years old. And what's his dimensions? Seattle generally likes tall, long-armed quarterbacks. Well, he's not exactly the big, tall, lanky one, but he's not exactly short either. He's 6'1", 192 pounds. So, he's on the smaller build in terms of height and weight. But, considering we'll see what the details of this contract, again, 1-year deal. So it at least addresses a position of need, obviously. And if you talk to anybody and they ask what's the most highest position of need that Seattle has right now, would be cornerback. And now addressing this just gives them one more option as we move forward in the draft to see if they continue to address that, or if does this give them a little bit of leeway to not have to put quite so much pressure on finding the cornerback replacement, since we lost 2 of our starting quarterbacks, Shaquille Griffin and Quentin Dunbar, in over free agency. So we will see. We're going to talk about that today on the roundtable this afternoon, or this evening for some of you. Our usual 5:15 time, we'll be addressing some of those positions of need that the Seahawks have. So we'll see. Keep an eye on that. More to update on you as we find out what kind of contract the Seahawks have signed him to. My guess is, given his age, the number of years he's been playing, is probably not anywhere close to a bank-breaking deal. So we'll see. Again, I think a pretty low-risk deal here. So we'll find out more details to come. The other side of that, Aldon Smith, who's been on the run with a warrant for his arrest since the incident this past weekend where he choked a guy and basically choked him unconscious, got an arrest warrant for him for second-degree battery. He has been wanted by Louisiana New Orleans police for the past few days. He finally did turn himself in, and he was released on $25,000 bail. So now the big question is, what happens next? So many things now have to play out in this situation. First of all, with this charge, the consequences are really quite a big range. It could be $2,000 fine or up to 8 years in prison. That's a big jump. $2,000 is no big deal. 8 years in prison, that's kind of a big deal. The thing that Smith does not have going for him is, excuse me, is the frog in my throat. Getting choked up over all this. Smith facing up to 8 years potentially in prison. This is just not good for him because of his past record. If this was a one-time offense, then with a clean record, potentially, I think they might be a little more lenient. But the fact that he's had so many issues in the past, some of them violent, others, of a violent nature, others are weapons related. Not a good sign for him. So that's just on the criminal side of what he faces. Then there's what's the league going to do? What's the commissioner going to do? Most likely, I can't see him not getting suspended over this. And the suspension could come down before they even rule on his criminal charges. So depending on what the NFL decides to do, I'm going to assume there's going to be some time away from the league. And then there's the question of what's Seattle going to do. Seattle could ride this out, try to see what happens before they cut him. But I'm sure at whatever point before it becomes a liability to the team financially and whatnot, I'm sure they will cut bait once they get a good handle as to what the NFL and the criminal charges are looking like. But it doesn't look good, but everyone's technically innocent before proven guilty. So we'll see how this plays out. But that's what he's facing. At the best case scenario, a fine. Worst case scenario, jail time. Either way, it's hard to envision him being in a football uniform anytime soon here. But we'll see how that goes. So again, please tune in this afternoon or this evening at 5:00 for the roundtable, where we will be discussing the positions of need right now that Seahawks most need to address, and weighing in on that, the potential of Aldon Smith not being here and this newest signing of Pierre Desir. How does that change the needs for Seattle as we move forward in the draft? All right, that's it, guys. Just want to give you a quick update. Any other texts here or chats that I need to see what's up? Thank you guys for jumping in on here. You guys should be in class if you're a student right now. Glenn Davis, Mark Temple, Eric Axe, what's up? Chapadoodle, just going through the list. Andrew Andy, what's up, man? Cameron Hughes, cut by the Jets. I guess a good point there is what does that say if you're being cut by the Jets? Okay, Boomer says, I watched a couple Jets games, and from what I can tell, Pierre Desir only had one good game this year. That game, he had like 2 to 3 interceptions. Overall, not a good player, not worth it at all. Well, that's never a good sign. We'll talk about this more in detail and get a little more breakdown from the fellas on the roundtable, see what their opinion is on him. Let's see. Andrew Andy, is Aldon Smith a Seahawks player? Technically, he is. He hasn't even gotten here. He just got signed to a contract just a few days ago before this whole situation went down. So he's technically on the team, but he could be quickly off the team as well. Mass Temple says, wrong. Pierre Desir is an on and off player. He got great hands, though. Okay. I think just a lot of questions. People, we are not that familiar with him here in Seattle. So, T-Man, any trivia today? Probably not today. We've got a short window. We have to wrap the show up at 6:30, so we will be doing mostly discussions on the latest, as I said, position needs for Seattle. Look at this latest signing with Pierre Desir and taking some of your questions. Let's see what Cameron Hughes says. Would rather have a pass rusher than a linebacker who will be on the field 40% of the time, in my opinion. Trevor Manis also says Jets pass rush was bad, so all the corners were bad. Well, that's a good point. Your corners are only as good as your line gives them time or minimizes the time they have to keep covering downfield. So it's never just one thing by itself. So you have to kind of look at the totality. Of course, he's only had 8 interceptions in his entire career. So eight interceptions over a 8-year span, not exactly mind-blowing. Blair Walsh, can you talk more about Aldon Smith? I just arrived. I'll do a quick recap. We got to remember, GoHawks5 said, we got to remember Desir was put in a bad spot in Greg Williams' defense. Good point. Glenn Davis, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate your support. What was it about Aldon Smith? Aldon Smith was wanted for his arrest. Blair Walsh, and he just turned himself in. That news just came in this morning. So now begins, and he was released on $25,000 bail. So we will see what happens with his case. Like I said, worst case scenario, 8 years in prison. Best case scenario would be just a $2,000 fine. But there's still the league and the Seahawks' decisions of what they want to do with him moving forward. That has to yet remain to be seen. Don't think he'll get off that easy with just a slap on the wrist, because he's had so many second chances and so many a rap sheet that goes quite a long list. Never good when you've already got that much kind of a record in your back pocket. All right. That is it, guys. I'm going to wrap this up, and we'll talk to you later this afternoon. Hope you'll join the roundtable at 5:15 Pacific time, 8:15 Eastern time. But feel free to click on any of these video links that you see right here. Always fun stuff to watch. All right. Take care, guys.